So, what can these men do here today? We've got a strong international field, one of the best that we've seen on British soil in a few years, especially at a BMC. I would say that depth-wise, often you have one or two who are capable of 8:25-ish around that mark, and the rest kind of fading back to 8:59 minutes. But this one, I think we could have 3 or 4 men in contention till late on, and look, what better way to kick-start it with Bridger as well, who's an accomplished steeplechaser, a Bucks champion over that distance, taking them out early on, Oscar.
Absolutely, yeah. It's going to be a fantastic race, you would imagine, and it is going to be Victor Ruiz who just slots in behind Tommy Bridger. Obviously, it's early days. First lap in this 3,000 metres is done without the barriers, so they'll come through now and just take the first barrier now. But Victor Ruiz of Spain, the highest caliber athlete on paper in his career, but whether that will translate, we're not sure. So some of the athletes that we haven't mentioned in this race, we've got Camilo Iragori from Switzerland, 8:45. He was second at the Swiss Steeplechase Champs and then 6th at the Swiss Champs over 1,500. So if he can get himself into contention, he might have some of that speed. But at the moment, it is Victor Ruiz who's just slotted in behind Tommy Bridger. Tommy Bridger, a very well-established athlete, third at the, a winner of the Bucks Championships this year. And then it's also Will Battersill in the Hoka outfit, just sitting on his shoulder. Mark Pierce, also a Hoka athlete that you can see there, the slightly taller figure. So it's currently that front 3 group. Kevin Robertson of Canada as well, making his way into that top trio, as well as the pacer, just hanging on to Will Battersill. The Canadian 8:33.88, his best, which was from this year. Second at the Canadian Champs, so he does know how to race against high caliber athletes, but he'll want to see if he can keep pace with Victor Ruiz and Will Battersill, who do have the better personal bests on paper in this one. So we'll have to see. As now, not sure why we're getting a replay of the 400 hurdles from earlier today, where the steeplechase action wasn't enough hurdling from you. Where Onyeka Oko took a convincing victory in that 400 hurdles to start the day. And we were debating earlier about whether those 400 hurdles and the steeplechase can be put in the same category, because there's such different techniques of hurdling. There were some very interesting techniques in the Olympics as well. I saw some lack of lead leg action, put it that way. But at the moment, it is still Bridger who is leading them out. We'll see how far he keeps them in. He's already got a 1,500 metre in his legs. Victor Ruiz is just tucked in behind him, with Will Battersill followed by Kevin Robertson just behind the wave lights. Tommy Bridger coming more towards lane 2 as he does step off. So now it is that trio stepping off, and it's going to be Ruiz, Battersill and Robertson to the end now.
Yeah, and I think in a way they'll be glad. I think someone like Ruiz will be relatively glad that Bridges stepped off, because I think the problem with steeplechasing is very, very hard to find a pacemaker, because often if you're a slower athlete, you often hurdle worse. So your hurdling is not in, you're not in sync, you're not that fluent over the barriers. And look, Bridges is a phenomenal athlete, but you can just see the golfing class. These men are 820 guys and below up at the front, and they just hurdle that little bit more efficiently. They're definitely stronger on the water jump as well. I mean, it's unfair on Bridger. He's at a 1,500 already today. But that's why, getting a good pacer for a steeplechase is so difficult, because, they might have the flat speed and the pedigree. When you do a 1,500, it's easy to get someone to 800, even if you're kind of maxing out. But in the steeple, that hurdling is slightly different. Battersill looking good now. He's taking this race by the scruff of the neck. And he's consistent, is Battersill. He's a steady performer. You don't often get like a real bad run out of him. And he'll do well to win this here today. I think he'll take confidence from that, because I think he's going to look at the end of this season. Can he sneak into a Diamond League? Can he sneak into a World Tour event on the continent and maybe just attack, an 8:21 at the British Championships? Can he attack a lifetime best at least? Can he run sub 8:20 to crown off the year, or maybe quicker? Who knows what sort of shape he's in? But these men just fading away from those lights a little bit. There's Ruiz there. You can just see just lacking a little bit on that water jump. You can see the fatigue setting in. Someone who's gone quietly about his business, nowhere near the front, Robertson, Oscar. Looks smooth enough. With 8:33, he could be getting paced round to a nice shiny new personal best.
Yeah, he's looking very good. He's just sitting on the shoulder of whoever's in second. He was sat on the shoulder of Will Battersill for a while. Now he's sat on the shoulder of Victor Ruiz. In fact, just going round in that last lap was a 67. So just off the pace that they were asking for, but well on pace for a good time here. And if you wanted to see three athletes at the front, it would be these three just leading themselves on. Will Battersill just hurdling very nicely, as I think we saw Mark Pierce just stepping off the track, which is a shame behind. But nonetheless, his Hoka compatriot Will Battersill will still be existing at the front. There we saw Miguel Palm of Sweden. He was fourth at the Nordic Champs and the Swedish Champs earlier on this year. But is Will Battersill starting to make a move now? As he goes over that water jump, attacks it well, 1 foot in the water, 1 foot out. That's exactly how you're taught to do it. There is slight daylight now, but it is Kevin Robertson as well, who has been quietly going around his business, who just sneaks past Ruiz, and just goes onto the shoulder of Battersill. I don't know whether he sensed a bit of weakness out of Ruiz, and he just wants to stick to the leader there. Coming through in the 66 there as well.
He's going to go by Oscar, and he's looking good as well, and he's asking the question of Battersill, and I think, Battersill up front wouldn't have minded a little bit of help, but to go by and gap him is going to be difficult. He does have a fast finish, Battersill. He won't be done yet, and you can see he's just holding that gap. He knows these are the crucial laps in the 3,000 meter steeplechase. What are they, 600 to run at this stage? I'm very surprised to see Victor Ruiz. I mean, I know he's got a season's best of 8:24, but I thought he might come here with a bit of intent. He's only going to make the trip across if he's in good shape and really challenge for a sub 8:20 clocking, something like that. But clearly he's struggling out there today, and it's Robertson, the big surprise, the upset, if you like, the North American champ, under 23 champion. He was second at those Canadian champs as well over to Steeple. De Gagnes, by the way, at the Olympics, phenomenal running. But Robertson taking inspiration from him. So we're coming up then, Oscar. A lap to go. Will Battersill get on terms with the Canadian, or will he dominate? 8:25, by the way, all-comers record here at the BMC. He's on for that. If he can rally hard over this last lap, he's going to be inside it. And Battersill too, if he can produce a quick last lap.
Yeah, I mean, that last lap was a 64 as well there for Kevin Robertson of Canada. And we said that he was just sitting back, doing his business well, sticking on the shoulder of the leader. This is looking like a very quick time. And it's not looking like the race of someone who has a personal best of 8:33. He's absolutely gapped Will Battersill, personal best of 8:21, gapped Ruiz by even more, who's run 8:24 this year. So it could be a massive upset with Kevin Robertson. Time, 1 foot in the water, 1 foot out. No one behind him. He's just got the track ahead of him with one barrier to go. You probably can't hear the footsteps of the fast finishing Battersill behind him, safely over the final hurdle. And it is going to be Kevin Robertson, barring disaster, who comes through ahead of the wave lights. Keep an eye on the clock. 8:25 is the BMC record, and it looks as though he's going to get it. I've got him down as 8:24. That could be a new BMC record there from Kevin Robertson of Canada. Massive personal best, 8:33 coming into this competition, and he might have just run 8:24, so knocking 9 seconds off, beating the likes of Ruiz, beating the likes of Battersill. And wow, what a run from Kevin Robertson. He just tactically ran it so well for the first few laps. Stuck on the shoulder of the leaders, stuck on the shoulder of Tommy Bridger when he was pacing, stuck on the shoulder of Battersill when he took the lead, and then struck a very decisive move to take this one pretty convincingly in an absolutely astonishing time.
That is a great time, and especially on UK soil and at these British Smilers meetings. And the all-comers record is there for a reason, and quite frankly, it hadn't been beat in 24 years. Well, coincidentally, it was 8:24, which was a time which we think has beaten it. So yeah, well done from him over from Canada, making that trip worthwhile. You can see one of his teammates there as well, and I hope they enjoy. I'm sure they've got a little bit of a European tour planned, get some racing in this time of year. And there's the squad, but took his opportunity, didn't he? And, you know, often, yeah, I think Barstow and Ruiz were a little bit surprised there.